Welcome to the Heron Heads podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by some friends and fellow Inter Miami fans, Dave, Chris, and Jose. And on behalf of the guys, we want to thank you for joining us for episode 24 here on the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. Today we are discussing the 2-1 defeat that Inter Miami suffered in the U.S. Open Cup final at the hands of the Houston Dynamo. For those of you watching live on YouTube, thanks for joining us, and please hit the like and subscribe buttons if you're enjoying the show. We wanted to give a huge shout out to our chief Heron Head, Matias. Thank you so much for your generous support. Additionally, thank you to our other Heron Heads, Art, Brian, Kevin, James, and Karen. If you feel so inclined to support us on Patreon, you'll find a link in the description down below wherever you are listening. And if you don't feel so inclined, that's totally okay too. We appreciate you being here. For anyone tuning in for the EAFC giveaway, we will reveal the winner at the end of the video. So be sure to stick around to find out if you've won, if you participated. Jose, I'm going to throw it right to you. You are in the midst of your 2-month-long birthday celebration. And to kick things off, you were sent to the game. How was your experience? Happy birthday. You know, we're like a month and a half out.
Yeah, it was my dad. He got me this game for my birthday. It's a month away, but it was a final, so I was telling him how happy I was about them reaching it and how excited I was, and he surprised me with it. And he said, "This for your birthday," and so yeah, I was super pumped about it. But yeah, as soon as I got there, we loved the energy in the stadium. It was very fun, super easy to park. We parked in the green lot across the literally right next to the stadium. It was super nice. We sat like I guess if it's football, it would be by the 30-yard line. Super fun atmosphere. Is really to the left was a supporter section. You'll see our videos that we're going to post on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter later from our experience there, and it was cool. I mean, these guys in supporter section, they never sit down. It's incredible. I mean, my back would hurt. I don't get how they did that. But it was a great experience. I mean, besides the game, right? I'm gonna get in on that later. But yeah.
So the starting lineup comes out. I was shocked by many things. We saw that Messi was not even included on the bench, and it immediately was like, whoa. The last 48 hours, everything we heard was Messi's not starting, which is fine, but that he would be available off the bench. And then just 30 minutes before the lineups came out, we had multiple reports that were saying that Messi was going to be available to come off the bench for at least 30 minutes. And the lineup comes out, and it felt like just out of left field. I had no idea that it's gotten to the point where I'm officially concerned that there's something going on. I've been okay with the idea that he's fatigued, but now I'm definitely concerned that this lingering scar tissue injury is covering up what's really going on. How did you guys feel when the lineup came out?
Well, as someone that was going to the game, it was kind of frustrating because I think most of the fans that were going were being told by the club, by Tata, that hey, don't worry, the final. That's what we're really going for. And then we get to the final, and everyone shows up. It was a lot of Inter Miami fans there. They were all excited. And guess what? They were all there even with 30 minutes before the game being told that Messi wasn't going to go. But definitely deflating from a fan perspective. Now, from a scheme perspective, from the team, they obviously did not live up to that. They fell flat, and that killed us.
I was surprised to see Diego Gomez in the starting lineup, especially since he hasn't really been with the club. I know he had a visa issue, but also a little bit of a knock on him, and just very surprised to see him get the start without having played a couple matches just to get back in tune with everybody. And Robert Taylor, I know I said that I didn't think he was going to play, but that was with the qualifier. I thinking Messi was going to play. Still, Robert Taylor he doesn't bring anything to the table right now. It stinks. He's so hot and cold. But yeah, this being a final, you expected to have your best foot forward. And I don't think that, granted, without Messi, I don't think that we still put our best foot forward, and it's extremely disappointing. I think that Tata deserves criticism for what he decided to do, and whether or not he was veiling Messi's availability to the public to kind of get some tactical advantage. It looked like it backfired, and it looked like the club itself was completely off guard and didn't know how to cope with the missing player, because we've seen them perform offensively before without Messi, and they just look completely disjointed in this one. And Farias didn't seem like himself. It was, I don't know. There's a lot to discuss, and it's well disappointing.
A lot. You didn't even mention the worst one. Go ahead, Chris. I think you will.
Yeah, David, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I think the club was just as surprised as everyone else. Maybe he was being too secretive, and and the players didn't even know themselves. Just the performance out there was abysmal. That first half was horrendous. I don't even have any other adjectives to use for that. As far as the lineup goes, yeah, Julio, I agree. I told you guys earlier in the chat, there's something going on here with Messi. I think it's something a lot more serious than what they're making it seem. It's not fatigue. You can't tell me that he's missed 3 weeks of games because of fatigue. That's just a cover up completely. I'm even starting to not believe the whole scar tissue thing. I think there's something else going on here. They're not telling us. They're being very secretive. It's something to be nervous about going forward, because now we have our eyes set on the playoffs. And if this continues to happen, Messi continues to play, it's going to start getting away from us little by little. We'll talk about that a little bit going forward. But as far as the rest of the lineup goes, I was kind of bummed not to see David Ruiz start. You could tell when they subbed him in later on, he came in hot. He made some really nice plays. He gave a little boost to the team. He came in a little bit too late, but yeah, I really wanted to see him start. Same thing with Gomez. That was very questionable. He hasn't been with the team at all. And all of a sudden he comes in and starts in the final instead of Arroyo. I think that was a big mistake on Tata's part. When Arroyo was subbed in as well, you could tell it's just things changed. I don't know if it's a familiarity with each other. I don't know exactly what it was, but you could tell it's just different. Arroyo out there just makes a big difference, especially when Gomez hasn't been with the team. Facu was not Facu that we're used to seeing. Campana never really had any chances. It seems that just that there was no attack. There was no chances created. Were there any shots in the first half? I don't even think they had any shots in the first half. Maybe
41st minute.
Yeah. One shot all half. I mean, that's ridiculous. Come on. So yeah, the lineup was not good. It just was not good. It wasn't acceptable.
And you know what? Okay, so nobody mentioned this, so I'm gonna have to mention him. Yedlin had a horrible game. This is his worst game I've ever seen him play in my life. This is horrible. They were literally attacking him. We were talking about it in the pre-show. What was number 21? It was a younger guy. Quinones. Literally, they just kept throwing the ball in the first half and saying, "Just get after Yedlin." I don't know if it was a 4-man back. I don't know what it was, but they just found something and they just attacked them. And I was literally sitting right there, so I watched every single time they kept throwing on the ball and it just kept going right around them. It was like he was going like this the whole time. Whoa, let's just keep going. It never stopped, and it was very infuriating, frustrating to watch him. He must have been frustrated too. I don't know if it was something. Maybe Christoph was there. Maybe Christoph. Maybe they could have used Toto instead to maybe help him out. Like, bro, the guy needed some kind of he needed help, and he was just getting bullied. It was terrible. That left side was just open the whole game, and that ended up being what got them the first goal, right? He committed the second goal.
All of them, all of them, because they start on the left side.
And I was thinking the penalty. Yeah.
Both were on the left side. Yedlin was caught out of position. Quinones ran in behind and then passed it across the box, and it found its way to who scored the first goal. I don't even know anymore. Dorsey came running in from the right side and smashed it over Calendar. And then the penalty, he just blew by Yedlin, who was just like totally spun out of control. And then really clumsy foul to try to get the ball back and save something. But yeah, Quinones, when he had the goal that was disallowed for being offside, I was like, dude, this guy's man of the match without a question. The way he completely dominated Yedlin, I've never seen someone manhandle Yedlin like that.
Horrible.
I've seen Yedlin have moments where he gets beat, but the whole game he was getting sunned.
Dude,
I don't think he's used to playing somebody with that kind of speed, who outclasses his speed. Yellen's that's his main attribute, is the fact that he can move so well, and Quinones just moves better.
It wasn't just speed. It was not just speed. It was skill. The guy was getting.
Quinones is a good player.
He was getting broken down. They were doing tiki taka around him. It was just like he didn't know what to do. It's like he's never played soccer before. The way he was playing today, I was like, "What are you doing, bro? Like, just stay back at this point. Play prevent because it's not working. I don't know what you're doing, but it's not working."
It's that thing though. He think of it as a safety net. Yellen has that idea that he's not going to get beat deep because he is so fast. Now you introduce a player who breaks that safety net, and you start pressing all over the place, and that's when you start getting some really bad play because his confidence is shot. His confidence is shot, and what doesn't help either is the entire defense with save Miller very early picked up a yellow. Every single person on the back line picked up a yellow except for Miller. So that means that now they can't even play as aggressive as they need to be sometimes. So it was just a recipe for disaster. Like they scored early. Our back defense, almost everybody got a yellow. It's just
there's two yellows in our back line by the 18th minute.
That's something I thought Allen's was very soft. He stopped a break from sort of starting off, but it was it was too early for that to be given a yellow, in my opinion. Not that Noah was going to change the game really, but it started off like a very bad set of events for the defense. And I think the moisture on the pitch wasn't talked about enough on the broadcast. There were passes really early on that, I mean, you could tell that they didn't have a good feel of the speed of the field. Campana missed twice to Robert Taylor, very elementary passes. I mean, like, obviously takes some skill. Like, I couldn't do it, but he missed Taylor like on the left side and just played a ball super short. You saw it a couple times, and then Yedlin, to the point of Quinones beating him so easily. Maybe Yedlin, I don't want to give him an excuse because Yedlin was awful. Yedlin maybe had trouble finding his footing. It felt like they couldn't turn and pivot, and this wasn't just Yedlin. The whole back line had trouble turning quickly to stop the defense. It felt like they got turned around super easily. But at the same time, we never did that to Houston. We never had the space to get it against Houston. It always felt like they had 4 or 5 people around our offensive players, whereas then Houston gets the ball, and they're making passes that are just perfect and getting out of tight spaces, beating our press, and it was a mess up and down the pitch.
Yeah.
Houston had no effect.
Sorry, go Chris.
No, I was going to say Houston didn't feel the effect of the wet pitch because their passes were all going right where they wanted to, right spaces. They were making the right runs, and it's just
initially.
I don't even have an excuse for that. I don't know.
No, I would say initially, probably in the first 12 minutes, I did see like 4 people slip. I don't know if it was on camera, but there's 4 people that just like completely slipped. It was just like very horrible. The first 12 minutes, it seemed to only. I'm gonna be honest, it seemed to only affect us though, because I never saw Houston slip. I only saw us slip. I think Kramaski himself slipped twice. I was like, dude, stop slipping. I don't understand. Change your cleats. But you know, if I'm gonna give you a whole breakdown of what I feel, we can go top to bottom. I almost feel like Kramaski had his head in his butt. He was not. I love him, but he was not looking across the field. There was a time when he had Robert Taylor. As much as I agree, like maybe just don't pass it to Robert Taylor. I totally get it, Kramaski. I'm with you. But there's a time that he was actually open, and he passed it just kind of late, and he actually ended up getting a nice ball into the box. This was in the first half. He passed a nice box, a nice pass into the box, and it ended up being like a nice shot. But it took the whole stadium to say, pass it to Taylor. Like, I feel like everyone said it at the same time, and he was like, he just saw his hair wave. Oh, and he just passed it over there. But I was like, brother, you gotta be looking. I don't understand. Why are you only looking this way? This whole field is cluttered. Look over here. And this guy was perfectly in a beautiful little angle. But that just sums up to me how the offense was playing in general today, where nobody was looking for the right. They weren't doing the right plays. It was just constantly not knowing where anybody was going. There was a time when Sergio had that Yellen. He had actually Yellen going one way on the right flank, and then all of a sudden he passed it to Sergio. Sergio like thought he was going to come back around, and he just passed it. It flirted to the Dynamo. I was like, okay, like we're just not going to play at all. It was just that there was just all around. There was just miscommunication all around, and I think it all stems from maybe these guys didn't expect Messi not to play. Maybe they really didn't because everyone was off kilter. It just seemed like everyone was off. Nobody was. It seemed like they weren't prepared. When the second half came, I do feel like people started to gel a little better. I don't know. Maybe it was a more offensive scheme that Tata started to play, and it did affect us in a positive way. But man, just the first half was so abysmal. It was ridiculous, and it all started from Yedlin getting wrecked. That's where it started. It started from that, and it just kept trickling down everywhere else.
There's two things that jumped out at me. There's two things that jumped out at me to start the second half. One, Houston was up and they let us have possession. They were pressing so much less. It was like you can't beat us. Like you can't score against us when we get set. So we're just gonna stay set the whole second half. And then secondly, Arroyo brought a lot of stability to the midfield and was way more secure with the ball for most of the second half. You disagree?
No, I was getting mad at Jose pouring a drink in the middle of the show.
Man's got to drink off his sorrows right now. So I thought Arroyo really held the ball well and like I said, stabilized the midfield, allowing us to hold possession. There was a point where they showed the possession of the second half, and it was like 64% to Miami, whereas in the first half, actually I was surprised at halftime that it was 50-50 split because it just felt like Houston
didn't feel that way
had
at all.
They had
That's what it was.
the chances. We had no chances, so it felt like Houston just had the ball the whole half, and we couldn't progress the ball into the attacking third. There were so many times where the Miami player would be on the ball and they'd just be looking around only to see three Houston players around them, and they were like Christoph multiple times just like, what am I supposed to do? And that's what led to the first goal. Was Farias was stuck on the right wing. There was no one to play it to, so he had to try to play the ball all the way back to Christoph, probably. It was one of the defenders that was back at midfield. And he had to do an outside the boot pass back from the attacking third, back to midfield. It gets picked off, and fast break 4-on-2 the other way. It was just awful. Like, I don't understand. I completely agree with you guys mentioning earlier. I was shocked that Gomez was on the start in the starting lineup. He has not even been with the team for more than 5 days. I think he rejoined the team last Saturday. And like, you're gonna throw him into the starting lineup of a final? That's a huge mess up by Tata, in my opinion. And then, I mean, you just like we're just saying, or like I was just saying, Arroyo coming in the second half just added so much more stability. I understand if he's fatigued and all this stuff, but all we've heard in the build-up to this match is that this is the priority, and you come up with this lineup that's just a mess. It's a mess. You have Farias on the right. I don't think he's played much on the right. It's like whoever goes into the right wing position to start is just doomed, whether it be Robert Taylor. You screwed up Facundo Farias now, and it was just awful, to the point where halfway through the first half, they switched wings. Farias went back to the left and Taylor went back to the right, and not that did anything to help. It was awful, man. Like I the first half was I was just pacing around my house. Like I couldn't put into words how frustrated I was with the whole performance. The second half was a little bit better, but Houston was letting it be better.
It drove me to drink. Every time we in that first half, I was like, I just need a drink. Because it was horrible. I was like, every time the little guy would come up with, hey, anybody want a Heineken? Please give me another one. No, on a serious note, no, I agree with you, Julio. Putting Gomez in, I was like, why not Arroyo? Arroyo didn't even play that bad last game. And Ruiz had a phenomenal game in the last game. He didn't look fatigued at all when he got in there. It was like, maybe, God forbid, you take out Robert Taylor and you put him in there. I don't know. Sounds like a good idea. Instead of Gomez fresh off of being injured, fresh off of not playing with the team, you put in a Arroyo. I don't know. God forbid. It sounds like great ideas. All of these sound great ideas. Guess what? When they finally put them in, what happened? Way better.
Hey, hindsight's 2020, but we're saying they put huh?
Like we saw this in the last game.
No, but that's the point I'm going to make now. So we're saying they put Facu on the right side, and they probably, let's say, they messed him up, just like they did Robert Taylor, whatever. What they could have done is put Facu on the left, and then to Jose's point, David Ruiz, he's played well. He has familiarity. He's been playing pretty much every match, not starting, but he's been playing a lot lately. Put him at the right side. That's his side. That's where he should be at. And maybe they should have started him on the right wing. And maybe it would have made a difference. Who knows? Like I said, hindsight's 2020. But the point that the other point I wanted to make is a question that I kind of posed to you guys in our group chat. I'm going to bring it up again. Is Tata probably tinkering too much at this point? It seems like every match there's a new wrinkle, there's a new lineup, there's a new this, a new that. When are we going to see stability on this lineup? You know, the international matches are past. All of this is behind us. Obviously, Messi's hurt or whatever is going on with Messi. But is there too much tinkering going on? Some things that he could have handled, or he could have predicted a little better, is that Gomez start was very questionable. Go ahead, David. You want to say something?
I can't. Yeah, I mean, you ask a question and then you don't let anybody talk.
Well, I'm expressing my feelings first, and then I'll let you go. Go ahead. What's up?
What's the question? I already forgot it. What was the question?
Is Tata tinkering too much?
Okay, thank you.
I can't. You can't defend Tata at this point because all the tinkering before this that led to this game was because he's trying to kind of give players rest so that everybody will be ready for this match to win a trophy, to win an award. And then you get to this stage and we're still the same story of different lineups and nobody's rested. And I understand there's a bunch of games, there's a bunch of matches in a very condensed window, but what's the point? What's the point? We know who our best players are. I know that Messi and Alba couldn't go. Understood. But what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, they have to have figured it out by now. It's not that he just joined the club and it's like the first tournament that we played in that, yeah, we're really trying to figure out what's our best group and what's our best formation. We all know who needs to be out there. And when we start, oh, Noah Allen's out here. Great. This is going to stink. Oh, Gomez hasn't been playing. Okay, that's going to be fantastic. Robert Taylor, fantastic.
What do you do? We know. What do you do with Noah Allen? That's the issue. Because
I know it's an issue. And you know how bad it is this game that Noah Allen was out there and they were attacking Yedlin over and over again. And Noah Allen, they were just ignoring him. On offense, Noah Allen was always open by himself. And when they passed the ball, they kind of just looked at him and like, yeah, go ahead, cross it and see what happens. And nothing would happen because it's disrespectful of how bad that spot is behind Alba. We absolutely need some depth pieces because the wingbacks, while I know Yedlin had a terrible game, but Yedlin and Alba are very solid. We have nothing behind them. So Yedlin has a bad game, and what do? Nothing. You have to suffer through it because there's nothing to do about it.
You flip on him like I'm about to do. That's what you do.
No, but that doesn't help anything. That doesn't solve anything.
Robert Taylor's
he's human. He's not Messi. He's gonna have a bad game, and you have no answer for it. And on this roster, you don't. So we kind of have to just deal with it. And it's frustrating. It is frustrating, but it's also something that we kind of did to ourselves again because Yedlin, you can't foresee him having a bad match, but when you have the wrong lineup out there, now you're double in the mud.
Well, yeah, I agree with David. Basically, the short answer, yes, he's tinkering too much. Long answer, yeah, we've talked about it. It's just when you don't have any kind of stability, what it does is it eventually just negates the positives that have happened so far, right? Because what we got from Facu now, all of a sudden we're like looking at him, we're like, okay, well, we kind of were hoping you were going to take on the Messi role again. You didn't do that. It almost felt like they were trying to have Kormaski take on that role. That's what I felt. When I don't know if he was capable of it. You know, he didn't have the same vision as the other guys on the pitch today. and it's not to blame him because I think he's 18. He's doing very well. It's just a matter of, are we putting too much on him now? You know what I'm saying? You know, so yes, we are tinkering too much, but at the same time, we're not putting guys in position to succeed. I think that's the bigger issue that we're looking at right in this particular game.
Yeah, he tinkered too much for this match. Like I said, everything in the build up to this match was that this is the priority.
People didn't
And
know
we
where to
understood.
go.
But like Arroyo and Gomez, let's just stick to that one set of players, right? Gomez and Arroyo. If you know that you're going to sub on Arroyo, or if he's a sub, just start him. Like, I understand if he's fatigued, but he's been the better player in that position. He's been with the team. He's played well. He's serviceable. You know what he's going to give you. He's not going to give you a strong presence in attack, but he's going to be very solid in midfield. Start him. What are you doing starting Gomez? There's nothing you can do about the back line, like David said. It is what it is. We know that that's our deficiency. To the point where we had to put Ruiz in for Yedlin, and yes, we were trying to get up the field more and attack more, but like there's just no other option. So I don't understand why he came up with the lineup that he did. I was shocked with just everything that was going on. Like everything just felt so disjointed. It felt like positionally, half the players, if not more, had no idea where to be.
It's like they hadn't trained with that formation or that grouping at all.
They're like, oh, this
I
is
just
what we're
didn't
doing.
understand. I didn't understand.
They couldn't like they had no idea where anybody was going to be at any point. That's why all the passes looked so ridiculous. And that's why when you mentioned the pitch conditions, I refuse to accept pitch. I understand that could slow a pass down, and you might have a little bit of footing issue. That's a first 5-minute issue, and you figure it out.
Agreed.
And look at Houston. Houston was beautiful passes the entire match.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure it out, and that's because it goes beyond the pitch conditions. They weren't prepared. They weren't prepared.
That was nothing to do with it. It was just up to 12 minutes that I noticed that people were falling down, but that has nothing to do with why they lost. I don't even think they scored in that first 12 minutes anyways. Maybe, did they? I don't think they did.
So anyway, so let's talk about these goals that happened, I guess. So the first one, like I said, Farias was caught isolated on the right wing. Nowhere to pass to. No one comes to help. He has to turn all the way back to midfield and look up and see Christoph 30 yards away from him. He has to play it back. Houston fast break down the left side because Yedlin's also out of position. Was not helping Farias for whatever reason. And they play it across, gets to Dorsey. Dorsey, that shot, I was surprised when they showed the angle from the side of how tight of an angle that was for it to then go near post on Calendar. I love Calendar, but he should have done a little bit better. I think he was completely taken off guard that shot was taken. And he was just late reacting to it. It was hit very well. But I think he potentially might have done better. He's been in just like average form. He wasn't like at the peak of his powers like he was Leagues Cup and the few games after. But that goal, I think, caught him. That shot, I think, completely caught him off guard.
He had some phenomenal saves in this one.
Yes.
Including one where he leapt to stop it and he was on the ground and then he just stuck his leg out to get the rebound block. He honestly, yes, they allowed.
And that was before that goal.
Yeah, he allowed a goal and a pen. He allowed a goal and a pen. He played great considering how terribly everybody else was playing around him.
Sure.
I agree. I agree with David. That the first save was amazing. 2 saves in one really is what it was. And then that angle shot was just wild, like Julio was explaining now. I mean,
I think it totally just caught him off guard.
Yeah, maybe he didn't expect that angle. It was so tight. So that was one that's on him. That penalty, you can't blame that on him. Obviously, that's Yedlin's stupid foul that he did there in the box, and it is what it is. But I think he played okay given the cards dealt to him. You know, the way that the team went, the way that the defense played, he played okay. It was not his fault. We cannot blame Calendar on this. He can't stop everything at the end of the day.
Well, on that particular play, when I first saw it, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You're not gonna like it. I said, "Why didn't you catch it from the beginning?" That's what I thought. I was like, I don't get it.
I agree with you.
You're very good. I don't get it. Just catch it. Why make it? Why all the drama? I don't know. Just catch it the first time. Get some. Put some sticky fingers. And catch it. I don't know.
He's very dramatic.
It's very dramatic.
What I thought?
I'm like, why'd you do all that? I don't understand. You would have kept the possession. I don't understand.
You know what I thought? I thought of a third Jose apologies when I saw that.
No.
That's what I thought about.
That's not what I was going to do there. I said, you're so good, catch it again. Catch it the first time. That's what I thought. Incomplete pass. That's what I thought.
So, speaking of cards being dealt, second eventual goal was brought on because Quiñones put Yedlin in a straitjacket, gets behind him with just tremendous ease, and then Yedlin with a very clumsy tackle from behind clears day penalty. Like, no questions about it. I know they checked it. There was like no doubt in my mind when they showed the replay. Clearly kicked the shin of Quiñones. Quiñones goes down, pen awarded, and I forget who took it, but put it straight down the middle. Calendar went to his right, 2-0. And I was so just disappointed. I wasn't mad. I was disappointed. It's the worst I've seen Yedlin play. And I feel like when you have the backline that we have, when you have Noah Allen, who we know is like, he's just not really going to give you enough on attack or defense.
Not going to give you anything anyway.
Yeah, that Yedlin needs to step up, and he got exposed over and over and over and over today. It was rough. It was rough to watch.
Can that be another knock on Tata's decision making here? Why are we not playing 5 in the back if we know all the deficiencies going into these matches?
Chris, I called for that though. Like in the
we've all been calling for that for weeks.
I wanted 4 men in the back. Because the reason why though was because I kind of assumed that Yedlin would hold his line on his side, and I just thought, hey, no, just don't run up the field. You're not doing much. So the problem is that they kept running up. I was like, okay, I don't get it. It's 4 men and you're still running up. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted you to just stay back, and we're having more attackers up front, more midfielders, and we can actually control the position a little better since Messi's not going to be there in tight spots. It's just, but no, they were attacking 4, and which is weird. You know what I mean? And particularly, we don't have Toto now lunging, trying to make plays in the back line. Now you have 3 guys that have yellow cards. That's what that was.
They're all channeling that Toto aggressiveness, and they're like, we need to bring him on the pitch. Let's get all. Remember how I said that? I'm like, you can't play Toto because he's gonna come up with an early yellow. Well,
yeah, not good, Bob. It was not good. I guess we'll talk about Joseph's goal. He had a chance around the 60th minute that I think is worth mentioning. It was a set piece, and he got on the end of it with his head, which was surprising. Not that he's incapable of scoring a header. What's that?
He had a few nice
yes.
plays. Honestly,
but specifically the one that he got on the end of the set piece, he hit a glancing header and it went just wide of the goal. That would have made it really interesting because we didn't eventually end up scoring until the 90th minute. Was it stoppage time? Maybe just shortly after stoppage time, or right around the 90th minute.
90th plus.
Yeah, it was right around the 90th minute that he eventually scored. Farias with a really nice lead pass into Joseph in the box, who took it pretty calmly. I think he went right between the wickets, right through the 5-hole. And then it was kind of game on for like 5 minutes. Campana had a header where he was kind of alone in the box, but he couldn't get enough behind it. Maybe got nudged in the back, but not enough for a penalty, really. And we didn't really have another good opportunity. Who hit Arroyo? Hit it over like way into the last row.
Remember the one that Martinez had? Remember the one Martinez had, and we're all just saying, shoot the ball.
Yeah, that was shortly after he came on. Shortly after he came on, Martinez runs in behind. And so to your point, he was making very good runs, almost from the moment he was put on, which is what you want from Martinez. Yeah. Like that's the danger that he really poses when he's at the height of his powers. Is he's going to make dangerous runs that stretch the defense, and he comes on and immediately gets on the end of one of these runs, and like he had an angle to shoot and he just refused to take it. And all of us in the group chat were just like, shoot the ball. Like, I don't get it with him. I don't understand him.
We should just put him at right wing. I mean, we're getting nothing from the right wing anyways, so I might as well have somebody who's at least putting himself in a dangerous position just to add a little stress to the defense, because I don't know.
Yeah, Farias wasn't, and neither was Taylor when they switched. Farias eventually grew into it once Arroyo came in, but it was just,
we just said no more tinkering, David, please. That's a big tinker.
But
the thing is,
we're gonna be tinkering with that spot regardless because we don't have a spot for it.
Until Messi comes back, that is one of the tinkering spots. Like, that's the tinkering spot, if you ask me. Because when Messi's in or without Messi, you are basically just alternating between putting Robert Taylor or Farias on the left, or Kremaski, I suppose, and then the midfield should be Arroyo, Busquets, and Kremaski. And then the back line is what it is. Like, you either have Alba or you have no Allen. You have Yedlin. You don't have anyone behind him, really. And then you have your rotation of Christoph, Miller, and Aviles. Joseph Martinez is just an enigma to me. Campana had very few chances. Didn't take his particularly well when he did have chances. He had one where he got the ball with his back to goal and he laid it off for someone to take a shot. I thought he could have played it to the other side. I think it was Robert Taylor that was on the left wing. He could have played it to him. Didn't see him. Ended up laying it off to the top of the box, and the shot got blocked or didn't. It didn't come. Nothing came from it.
He seemed out of position the whole time. He never.
Everyone
really
did
into the right. Yeah, you're right. That was the formation that Tata employed, the out of position formation, where nobody knew what the heck they were doing. Yeah, but it's frustrating.
But Joseph Martinez, I'm not mad at him though. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not mad at him. From all the games, right? At least he tried, bro. At least he was putting his best foot forward. He was making plays, whether they were good or bad. I don't know, but he was making plays.
He didn't play that first half. That first half is what we lost, and he didn't play that first half.
Yeah, I mean, he brought a different look. He was actually making runs, and people were actually trying to get him the ball when he made those runs. Because that's the thing. There was people that were making runs. We just weren't trying to hit them. I saw it a few times where Kremaski was trying to make a run to inside of the box. They weren't throwing him. They weren't throwing it in there.
They were late seeing them. They were late seeing these runs, and when they tried, they played the passes horribly. I don't know what was going on.
This where the ball went. I was like, "Where are you throwing it to, brother?" No, it was. That's why. So I don't blame him. And Ruiz actually brought a breath of fresh air to the offense. All of a sudden, and I don't know if maybe there was a little bit of a parking of the bus by Houston in the second half. I don't know if it was a 2-0 dangerous score game where it's the what do they call it? It's the worst lead to have.
Yeah. I don't want to diminish the guys who came on late and showed that pop, but it's easier to do that. They're going in there with this mindset of saying it's pedal to the metal. We have to do something. We're down 2. So I think it's a lot easier to go in at that point and just go balls to the wall and figure something out. It's a lot easier to do that. So I am happy. I'm happy that they showed something off the bench. But at that point in the game, yeah, they better show hustle. They better produce. They've been sitting all match. Like it's like not the best praise I can give on somebody for showing up in the 80th minute.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Jose and the Martinez thing. I even texted you guys when I think it was halftime. The broadcaster said, "You know what Miami needs? They need Joseph Martinez." I was like, "What? They need Joseph Martinez? Have you not watched the last matches from Miami? Watch him play. He hasn't done anything. How can you say that?" But they brought him in, rightfully so. Props to the broadcaster who called it, and he actually showed some spunk in him. He got behind enemy lines. He made the correct runs as needed. Maybe he didn't finish like we wanted to, but he was that little spark that Miami needed, and I was wrong. Broadcaster was right. What do I know, right?
The broadcaster also said the best line that I've heard in a while, that we were saying that Kremaski was falling over himself. They called him Bambi on ice, and I was just like, I wanted to laugh, but I was so sad that I just kind of nodded my head and
It's a classic Ray Hudson analogy.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Just like a Bambi on ice. So end of the day, match ends 2-1. So disappointed. Like such a flat performance. Just Houston just killed us in the first half, and we were just chasing it. Like I said, if Martinez had scored in the 60th minute, I would have been pretty excited for the remainder of the game. But we didn't score till the 90th minute. It was like, okay, cool. Like maybe we'll get a chance. Campana got his chance and couldn't get enough on it. And you knew we were just kind of grasping at straws. Like we didn't feel deserving of it. Not that always dictates who gets the win, but it just, Houston won it, man. Like they kicked our ass for 45 minutes, and then we didn't do much when they weren't kicking our ass. Like we just got caught on a couple counters. They had a goal that was disallowed that otherwise was a really nice build-up and counter. Doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good
at all.
And now straight back into league play. We're now 3 days away from going into probably the most important match of the remaining matches in the MLS season against NYCFC, whoever loses that match is in trouble of making the playoffs. Whoever wins is sitting in a much prettier position than they are today. And I just have now so many questions, such little confidence in this team. If we don't have Messi and Alba, it is such an uphill battle. If we have one of them, the load is significantly lightened. But right now, I don't expect Alba to be ready even in the slightest. And now with Messi, like I don't know. I don't have any faith that he's actually healthy.
I don't think he plays. Tata said that he will be back for league play. That doesn't mean he'll be back for the next match. That means that he'll be back before the end of this league season.
David, that doesn't even mean for this league season. That he said league play. He didn't say 2023. He didn't say 2024, 2025. He just said league play. Who knows at this point? Who knows at this point? He was supposed to be back for the final. That's what they kept saying. Whatever.
His non-inclusion in this match will I'm gonna wake up in a cold sweat multiple times tonight and just be like, oh, it was just a dream. Messi's in the lineup. It caught me so off guard. I couldn't believe it. Jose was driving to the match later than he wanted to be, and I'm like, oh, they said Messi's gonna play. Messi's gonna play 30 minutes. Don't worry, he's gonna come off the bench. Messi's not gonna play. It's just like I couldn't believe it. I can't believe it.
Think about this now. What are the prices that people have paid for the rest of this year to see him, and now they're worried about first of all, their tickets have plummeted in value. They have. Why? Because nobody wants to go and see the team that we just saw today. Nobody wants to pay tickets for that. You know, so you throwing that in on top of that, it's like it seems like he's lying. You know, that's the thing. So you're lying to these guys. It's like, okay, well, what are we paying for?
I mean, I wouldn't pay a fraction of what people paid to go out tonight to watch that on the field. That product to what, you know, I'm not trying to bash on you on your dad having paid whatever he paid. It's unfortunate. It's a big discourse on how ticket prices are, and they're all hyperinflated because of the Messi effect. And then Messi doesn't play, and you have people that paid lots of money to go see something that they're not being given.
They're not going to. The thing is,
they can't do anything about it. I completely agree.
This happens in other sports too, especially now with the NBA. They're trying to make rules so that you can't rest certain players and things like that. So like these things are hard to dictate.
They have to do something about saying the injury report way sooner than 30 minutes before a game. That's ridiculous. They don't do that in any other sport. No, absolutely not. We know about the NBA a day before. No.
I mean, the MLS is licking their chops. The MLS is licking their chops with the amount of money they're making. So they're not going to be like, okay, give us a reason to lower the prices.
That's a scam.
It is a scam. I mean, it's getting to the point where it is a scam. it's just very dishonest.
Today, it felt very sleazy. It felt extremely sleazy that they promised X and they delivered Y. And I understand it's sports. That's not what I'm disputing. I'm not disputing that it's sports and what you pay for. That's not what I'm disputing. What I'm disputing is that, do you know how many Messi shirts I saw in the stands today?
All of them.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you sprinkled in a few Kramaski jerseys, a few Campana jerseys. That's straight up. That's it. I didn't see anything else. But it's just like, it's just.
Wait, so you're saying you didn't have an Alba jersey?
I'm saying these are your fans. You know what I'm saying? These are your fans, and at some point it's like, okay, you should already be saying what's happened. You know what I'm saying?
It comes off very disingenuous, but yeah, the MLS is not going to say, give me a reason to lower my prices. They're going to say, we'll take your $100 just to get into the door for standing room and then move away. When we were getting $5 before Messi came, you can get a ticket to an Inter Miami game for less than $10.
Yeah, but
and now to get in the door, I posted earlier today, the cheapest price was right around $200 to go. Even knowing that Messi wasn't going to start, because that was the overlying news that we knew that Messi wasn't going to start, that he was maybe going to be available off the bench, and then he didn't even play.
But it's just a matter of like, if you tell these guys like, right, okay, so you're right. Why would MLS want to say something and get more money, right? Okay, but how about this? Most of these games have to be sold out by now, anyways. All of these games. So now it's just secondary markets now. So people are buying these tickets from someone else that already bought it at the price that they gave it, which is bottom of the rack.
Now, but MLS now, like when the tickets are released for these games, they're not cheap. Remember when the U.S. Open Cup tickets first went on sale? They were over $200. They were like $250.
Yes. But I'm saying, but now what's left? What's left is MLS play, right? So at this point, it should be okay. Well, you're not going to make money on this anyways. It's already done. You know what I'm saying? Now it's secondary market. Maybe the MLS playoffs, sure, that hasn't been released yet, but the regular season's done. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. It's definitely I don't know. It's a problem on both sides, and I understand both sides of the discussion. We can talk more about it in our preview for NYCFC. I don't know if we're going to release that tomorrow. It's going to be tough to bounce back and talk about this team in a more positive mindset, but we'll get that preview out soon, very likely tomorrow. That way we have Friday to sort of listen to our ideas and let that marinate and hopefully result in a bounce back victory on Saturday against NYCFC, because that would go a long way into giving us a chance for the second piece of hardware that we so wanted to claim tonight. Without further ado, I'm just going to go and announce the winner of our EAFC giveaway. If anyone's here watching us live that participated, thank you so much for participating. We had an overwhelming amount of entries. I think by the end we had over 250 people that entered, over 660 entries. So the winner, and I'll be posting a video of the draw on Twitter at the Heron Heads if you guys want to check that out, to just check that everything was kosher. The winner was at Carton55. Congratulations on your copy of EAFC. We'll be messaging you for details on what console you play on and how you want to receive the download code and all that fun stuff. So again, thank you so much for everyone that participated, and we look to be running giveaways maybe once a month. We're going to figure out the details and figure out what sort of things to start giving away on a recurring basis. So again, appreciate you guys so much for joining and participating and interacting with us. It's always great. For those of you that joined just to sort of talk about the game, appreciate you guys being here too. Not the result we wanted by any stretch, but hey, we gotta just keep our heads held high and move on to the next one. We still got 5 games left in the season, and we got stuff to play for still. So thank you all for listening to the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami, and we will catch you on the next one.
We'll be right back.